OKC wins the championship with a lot of Boston connections. How does the KD trade to Houston impact Boston? And are the Celtics retooling or trying to contend? A busy Locked On Celtics right now.
Beantown, be ever ready. It's the C's. Who else could it be? What they gon' say now? Screaming like JT. Karalis, recap the madness every game, every practice. Prime time, dapping D White on the sideline. Raining J's, how it started, raising banners, how we finished. Locked On Celtics pod, home of the winners.
Hey there, welcome back to the Locked On Celtics podcast, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where it is your team every day. Your team's the Boston Celtics, and I'll talk about them every Monday through Friday, through June, through July, 3 days a week in August and September, but back to 5 days a week when the season starts. So make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts. Watch the show on YouTube, get into the comment section there. Let me know what you think. I'm John Karalis, beat writer for Boston Sports Journal, author of a couple of books on the Boston Celtics. I've been doing a version of this job for about 20 years now, so I just love talking about the Boston Celtics. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. Later on in the third segment, I'll talk about the Shams Charania comment that the Celtics are operating as this upcoming season is a retooling season. We'll get into the Kevin Durant trade to Houston and how that impacts the Boston Celtics in segment 2. But let's start with the NBA champions being crowned. Congratulations to the OKC Thunder for winning the NBA championship. Oh, by the way, this is normally a Mailbag Monday. I'm going to push that to tomorrow. Do that on Tuesday. So mailbag questions can come in at johnkaralis.com/mailbag. johnkaralis.com/mailbag to get your questions in. I'm pushing the mailbag show to tomorrow. Okay, now OKC wins the championship. The big story there is the Tyrese Haliburton injury. I'll get to that in a second. Congratulations to OKC Thunder. A lot of Boston connections here. Obviously, Sam Presti, the architect of the team, the GM, is an Emerson basketball product. I'm an Emerson basketball product myself. Sam came in the year after I left when I was playing in Greece. And when I came back from there, I went and practiced with these guys. So I played basketball against Sam in practice. Rob Hennigan, who was the GM of the Orlando Magic, is the vice president of basketball operations with the Thunder. So another Emerson. He's Emerson's all-time leading scorer. I still think he can go out there and win a three-point contest against most of the guys that were on the floor. He's such a good shooter. Hank Smith, my college coach, is a scout for the Thunder. So lots of Emerson college basketball connections. So Emerson, right downtown, a 15-minute walk from TD Garden. So we're not celebrating a Celtics championship, but plenty of Boston connections. All of those dudes, like Sam's from Concord. Rob is from, I want to say, Worcester. Mark Daigneault, head coach, is from Leominster. No Emerson connection there. But I remember when the Thunder came to Boston, I asked him about the Emerson connection. He kind of laughed. He's like, oh, you're one of those guys? But it is a fun kind of thing for a small D3 school to have such an impact. And, hey, I'll say it. We're responsible for an NBA championship, man. So congratulations to all my Emerson men's basketball brethren there, B5B. Very excited for you guys to be celebrating a championship. And that's a lot of fun for you. It was a subdued celebration. I thought a team of like young early 20 somethings would be like going nuts for their first championship. I know it was kind of decided, but you just won the NBA championship. Everybody's just kind of like chilling on the sidelines. They're all calmly shaking hands. Like what is that? What? I mean, where's the craziness? And then they showed the locker room, and it was just one dude just on cordless. Let me just shake this champagne up and pop that. Like, guys, it's over. You can celebrate now. It's okay to celebrate this one. You don't have to get back to work on the next one for at least another month. You got some time. Celebrate this. One of the most subdued celebrations I've seen, especially for a first-time champ. And by the way, shout out to the ethical OKC Thunder for not claiming the Seattle championship, unlike some teams that like to suddenly claim the championships won in past cities. OKC is celebrating their first championship. Very not veiled shot there at the Lakers, who, for all of the Celtics discussion about, all of their championships came so far away and blah, blah, blah. The Celtics, every Boston Celtics championship was won by the Boston Celtics. And all of those, by the way, were won in the NBA. The Boston Celtics have 19. They have 19. 18. No, I wishful thinking on the 19. They have 18 NBA championships. The Lakers, the Los Angeles Lakers, have 12. The Minneapolis Lakers have 5. And one of those in Minneapolis was with the NBL. The second one was with the BAA, precursors to the league. So the Lakers don't even have 17 NBA championships. They have 15 NBA championships. Never mind the fact that 5 of them were won with a different team. 2 of them were won in a different league, precursors to the NBA. So shout out to the Thunder for being ethical and calling this what it is. Their first championship. Tyrese Haliburton tore his Achilles. It's not official, but his father basically confirmed it. And I just want to wish Tyrese Haliburton the best possible recovery. He knew it right away. It's the thing that we're most afraid of. I'm taking some heat on Twitter for saying we should stop allowing players to play through calf strains, because we should be treating calf strains as precursors to catastrophic Achilles tears. And I know it's a game 7. I know that as a player, I would have done exactly what Tyrese Haliburton did. I would have put a gun to somebody's head to allow me to play in this game. And even if I tore my Achilles, I would have had no regrets. And I'm sure Tyrese Haliburton has no regrets either. But that's why you have to save players from themselves. And I know that that's not a popular thing to say, prevent a player from playing in a game 7 of the NBA Finals. But I just don't want to say, I'm saying this from a place of, I do not want to see guys tearing their Achilles tendons and playing through a calf strain where they said if this was the regular season, he'd be out multiple weeks. Well, you know what? That tells me he should not be playing right now. If he has a calf strain that was going to keep him out for multiple weeks, then he probably should have been deactivated. And I'm saying this strictly because I watched his Achilles snap. It was a gross thing to watch. It was right there on camera. You could see the exact moment that it happened. It was brutal, and I am all about player health. I do not want to see these guys suffer these catastrophic injuries. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it's just unavoidable. That's part of the risk of playing NBA basketball or any sport at any level. You run the risk of hurting yourself. And trust me, I know a couple of my former teammates occasionally listen to this podcast. I wish they could pipe up and be like, if anybody knows about playing hurt and playing through injuries, it's me, John Karalis. I know all about it. I'm still hurt from my playing days. I still have pain from my playing days. So I understand it. I get the mentality. And I would probably never forgive the people who held me out of a game 7. But at the same time, man, I watched that injury and it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because it happened at the end of June. And even an optimistic timeline doesn't get him back. It's not even like Tatum where first of all, where it happened, when it happened, all that stuff. This is the ultimate. He's in Oklahoma City. He's not going to get surgery in Oklahoma City. He's going to fly somewhere to get this done. Maybe New York. It's not going to get done for a couple of days. I just have less optimism for him at the moment. I feel like his next season could be in complete jeopardy, and that's tough for the Pacers, who are getting expensive. I'm not going to get too much deeper into the Pacers. Let me just one last thing about the Pacers. What a team, what a season, what a playoff run. I mean, they were at one point the 10th seed, I believe, the 11th seed. What a run. What a job by Rick Carlisle. What incredible play from them. They just never quit. They're going to start they're already a little expensive. They have a lot of decisions to make, and losing Haliburton all of next year really puts them in a bind. So that eliminates them, I think, as a contender, which, from a Boston perspective, I think obviously for a team that's looking to kind of float, and I'll talk more about them in the third segment, eliminating the Pacers as a potential roadblock is, not hate to just distill it down to basketball, but it helps the Celtics. Not that anybody is rooting for an injury to help the Celtics, but so sucks. It really sucks for, to watch Tyrese Haliburton get hurt. All right. Kevin Durant was traded to Houston. Let's figure out how that impacts the Boston Celtics when I come back. Today's show is brought to you by Olipop. I have myself an Olipop right here. It's Olipop Classic Grape. If you can see it on the YouTube page, it's really tasty. I'm going to take a sip right now. It's delicious, and it only has 4 added grams of sugar. That's compared to a Coke that has 39 grams of sugar, an Orange Fanta that has 44 grams of sugar. Olipop flips that script, just a fraction of that. No artificial sweeteners, just gut-friendly ingredients like Olismart. A blend shown to support digestive health and overall health. It's a soda that tastes like the real thing, but it does something good for your body. I mean, it says right here, supports digestive health with prebiotics, botanicals, and plant fiber. It's just a really great tasting soda alternative, which is just, it's soda. It's just an alternative to the big sugary sweet stuff that you probably should not be drinking. You can get one of these for free. You got to buy one. They'll refund you. So you go to Olipop, drinkolipop.com, drink Olipop, OLIPOP, drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA. You can find the stores that carry it. You buy 2, they will reimburse you. They'll get you the free can. So you can, double fist your Olipops at drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA. Buy 2, get reimbursed for 1. They're delicious. I really enjoy them. They're really good. There's no other way to say it. Non-GMO verified, just really good. drinkolipop.com/LockedOnNBA. Thank you for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Today, you got all sorts of options for your second listen. Locked On NBA Game Night, which has 2 podcasts out today on the same feed, one covering the KD trade, one covering the finals. Obviously, Locked On Thunder is going to be fun. Locked On Pacers is going to be a little bit not fun, but good to get the reaction from those guys. Plenty of reaction on the Locked On Podcast Network. So check all of those out wherever you get your podcast. Kevin Durant traded before Game 7. The morning of Game 7 of the NBA Finals, Kevin Durant gets traded to the OKC Thunder. The Thunder, I said OKC Thunder. The Houston Rockets. Boy, I'm on it. I'm on the ball, I swear. Kevin Durant gets traded to the Houston Rockets. the Rockets give up Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and the 10th pick in the draft, which feels like not a lot. But the Phoenix Suns weren't in the best position to make this trade. They had obviously Durant, but he wasn't going back. Teams knew he wasn't going back. And this is like where people say, hey, we'll put the squeeze on the Celtics. This is kind of the squeeze that, look at what the return can be. It's so funny. We just saw the Orlando Magic make a trade for who did they get? Who did the Orlando Magic get? They gave up the 5 picks for, and I'm just completely drawing a blank on this. Desmond Bane. I completely drew a blank on that. Orlando gives up a ton of first-round picks for Desmond Bane because they had to work to get they needed to get this guy, and there was competition, I'm sure. And as opposed to Kevin Durant, where you give up 1 first-round pick, doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense, right? So part of the impact here is how does this impact Boston's ability to trade for Drew Holiday or to trade away Drew Holiday? What kind of return can they get? Can they get after the Desmond Bane trade? I thought, well, the Celtics might be able to get a pick for Holiday. Then Kevin Durant only gets a first-round pick. Of course, that's the 10th overall pick. But, okay, you get a lottery pick for Kevin Durant. If you're only getting 1, then what is Boston going to get for Holiday? So I'm kind of going back and forth on what's there for Brad Stevens and for his return on Drew Holiday. So I think that's one way to look at the return for Phoenix was so low that you say, okay, if teams are going to put that squeeze on them, will they put the squeeze on Boston? But all the Celtics need is a little bit of competition. They just need a couple of teams to be interested in Holiday. You get 2, 3 teams, 4, 2, however many teams, more than 1. If you get more than 1 team interested in Holiday, maybe they can get some of that. And another part of this is Durant makes so much money. I know Holiday makes a lot of money, but Durant makes so much money. And then having to pay him afterwards, that was part of the equation. So it's I don't know. I'm curious to see how that works out. It does help that Durant didn't go to the Miami Heat. I thought they had a chance. There was a possibility of moving a couple of those guys, a couple of their higher salary guys to get Durant in there and pair him with Bam Adebayo. Although in looking at how much Miami needed to give up, I thought that they were a little bit of a long shot, but they had a shot. But I always thought that one of these other teams had the opportunity to step in and outbid them, which they did. So Durant is not in the East, which helps. He stays out West. And now there's talk about they need a center. The Suns need a center. And, the Celtics, there's potential to sign and trade. I don't know if the Suns want to do that, but there is potential to sign and trade Luke Cornett if there's a possibility there. So maybe Boston can get involved in a subsequent deal. So we'll see where that goes on that. But I think it's a good move for Houston, a team that was really lacking a scorer. They can play great defense. Obviously, Ime Udoka has them playing great defense. I'm curious to see how KD fits in that. It's not that he can't play defense. He's just a little older, and it'd be interesting to see how that works for them. But it's a nice haul for Houston to get that elite type of player, help mentor some of the younger guys. You gave up Jalen Green, which is not a big deal to them. He's obviously an elite young scorer, but he has a lot of deficiencies in his game and was not really capable of doing much in the playoffs. So I think Houston got better, obviously got better. So we'll see how that helps them in the playoffs and all of that. I know that Phoenix is going to be looking to make a subsequent trade. The Celtics could be looking to get in on that. They have the ability to be a third team and start moving some real salary. Maybe a team that would take Bradley Beal. Maybe Boston gets involved in that. Maybe Phoenix flips Jaylen Green and they get involved in that. Maybe the Celtics can get involved in that kind of deal. I'm not sure that Phoenix really wants all of those shooting guards. So the Celtics can still kind of, call them up and be like, hey, if you need to, we can help you facilitate something. If you want to give us a call, and Jrue Holiday can move in that deal. So that's where I think Boston is impacted by the Kevin Durant trade. Not too deeply, but there is some impact. Also, one last note on that: the fact that happened before the finals ended, and it got out as the part of the 24-25 season, that helps the Celtics in that draft night is one deal that's not cooking on draft night. Once the free agency / trade period opens up, KD stuff is out and done. It doesn't look like there's going to be any traction on any Giannis Antetokounmpo moves. Are the San Antonio Spurs in play for a bigger move? I'm not going to say let's trade Jaylen Brown. The Celtics have been very kind of, they're not going to trade Jaylen Brown. But do the Spurs come up with a Godfather offer in their pivot because they didn't get Kevin Durant? That could be talk about an impact on Boston. Let's revisit that, because the Celtics are looking at a quote unquote retooling year next year. We'll get into that next. Today's show is brought to you by Monarch Money. If you've ever checked your bank account and wondered where your money's gone, Monarch Money can help you. It's your personal CFO, gives you full visibility and control over your finances. It's not just some budgeting app. It is a complete financial command center, so you can track all of your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. Stop managing your money. Start building wealth with Monarch Money. When you start using Monarch, you can realize how much you're spending on things like food delivery, online shopping, entertainment. Very easy to lose track of those things, but now you can budget smarter and save. And instead of juggling all these multiple apps, you can use Monarch Money to check your finances, track your spending, and plan long-term goals, even with your partner, because there's easy collaboration to track and share personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Thanks for making Locked On Celtics your first listen every day. Go check out Locked On NBA Big Board. Locked On NBA Big Board gets you caught up on everything you need to know about the draft, the upcoming draft. The draft's on Wednesday and Thursday night. So the Celtics are picking 28th. You need to get caught up to date on who the Celtics might be looking at. I'll be looking at some of that stuff ahead of the draft too, but Locked On NBA Big Board will have you covered. All right. Whoops. There we go. Hitting buttons on the on the video side. Audio people, I'm sorry. Sometimes I say whoops and you're like, what? Like, yeah, sorry. I've when that happens, I've hit the wrong button on the video side. Shams Charania on the Pat McAfee show, talking about the Boston Celtics, said the Celtics are operating in this space right now. They're looking at next year as a retooling year. That doesn't mean you don't want to stay competitive. It doesn't mean you want to doesn't mean you want to continue, but realistically, without Jayson Tatum, it's going to be tough. So, as I've said a million times, I'll just quickly reiterate. I still think Jayson Tatum has the potential to come back if everything goes right. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's also it's probably the more likely scenario, but the potential is there. So retooling next year, retooling because the Celtics are they have to move salary. They have to reduce their payroll. They have to get under the second apron or get close to under the second apron over the summer. This whole between today and the trade deadline, February, whatever day that is, the Celtics will be retooling their roster, trading away, presumably Drew Holiday, possibly Sam Hauser, maybe Kristaps Porzingis, trying to figure out if you can bring back Luke Cornett and Al Horford, maybe having to let one of them walk. Yeah, that's retooling. That's a retooling year. And does that mean the Celtics are, like Sham said, it doesn't mean you don't want to stay competitive. And this is where you get into some of the nuance, the semantics of what's being said. It's a retooling year, meaning that the Celtics aren't going for it next year. They're not going to be making moves next year at the trade deadline, being like buyers. If you say, oh, well, maybe we're just a point guard away and like, well, let's go find a point guard. No, that's not how this is going to go. They are going to cut salary. So Holiday, probably, most likely gone. Sam Hauser, probably gone. Other players in play to be gone. Jaylen Brown, maybe, possibly at some point, gone this year, next year. If things go a certain way, then they're open to it. The Celtics are open to it. If the San Antonio Spurs throw a ridiculously stupid offer at the Celtics, like the one I was joking about, and I was joking the other day about Castle and Vassell and the pick and like all of that stuff, like that was obviously a joke. I wouldn't expect the Spurs to make that offer, but also if they did, then you got to look at it. They won't, but if they did, there's an offer out there that can force the Celtics to be like, well, okay. And the whole point is the Celtics will be looking at those kinds of things. You can entice the Celtics with a deal that sends away a guy, an established guy, and retools the roster. But I do expect Jaylen and Derek White to be on the team to start the season. Jaylen, Derek White, maybe Porzingis, and obviously the rest of the guys. I think it's Holiday and Hauser are probably the two main candidates to go, which is retooling. The Celtics are going to hopefully stay competitive after that. And if, big, giant, if, in quotes, if Jayson Tatum comes back, can come back, and is ahead of schedule or is on the fast end of the window to return, there's then they're going to be like, hey, all right, let's see if we can make our run. They're going to go as far as however far they can get. If Tatum cannot come back, they'll be like, hey, look, I still expect him to be good enough to be a 4th, 5th seed, maybe. Can they make a run? Can they make a Pacers type run? Can they lean on some kind of experience? Can Derek White go, crazy and have an incredible year? And can Jaylen Brown have a better year than anybody expects? Can Baylor Shireman step up? Can somebody get at 28 or 32 be a surprise contributor? All of those things can, like, there is a best case scenario that the Celtics win a championship next year. Is it the likely scenario? No, but there is a path. There is a path to them winning a championship, and while they're retooling. But I think the quote retooling year from Shams Charania, it's not a rebuilding year. Retooling is just you got to make changes to your roster, and the motivation of the trades that they're making is not championship first. The North Star, as Brad Stevens put it, is to contend. But realistically, if Tatum is not back and can't come back next year, then you say, it's just not going to happen. So you got to figure out how to move forward in a different way. But retooling is not rebuilding. And that means they still want to be competitive, and they'll see if they can be competitive while retooling and remaking their roster a little bit. So, and frankly, even if Tatum wasn't hurt, there would be retooling. It probably would still be a retooling year. It just wouldn't be as obvious right now. I don't think it would be as big a topic of conversation because they'd have Tatum and Brown, and I don't think people would be too concerned about where the Celtics were really. They wouldn't be looking at the blow it up option as closely as they're looking at it now. So, like I said, for the fourth time in this podcast, retooling is not rebuilding. It's just changing a few of the guys on the roster, and we'll see where it goes. All right, tomorrow, Mailbag Tuesday. It's not alliterative, but it'll have to do. Mailbag Monday delayed by a day. JohnKaralis.com/mailbag. Everydayers, you probably have that memorized, but thank you for being with me every day, Monday through Friday. You know I love you for being that dedicated to the podcast. Thank you so, so much. If you're subscribed and you're not an everydayer, I'd love to tell me how to make you an everydayer, and I will try. If you're not subscribed, if you're still listening now, please subscribe. Hopefully you're enjoying this. So Mailbag Monday tomorrow, we'll get into more topics. The draft is coming up. So the Thursday, Friday podcasts will be draft related, which means we're probably not doing Flashcard Friday this week, probably delaying that because it'll be all draft. I expect on Friday for Brad Stevens, a lot of Brad Stevens reaction. So stick with the podcast 5 days a week. We're here for you. It's free every Monday through Friday. So subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Watch the show on YouTube. And I would love it if you share the podcast. Tell everybody they should be listening to and watching the Locked On Celtics podcast here on the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day.